Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Good to see you all. And it's about that time. Thank you all for joining. Welcome back to the second LZ NMS-CAST. This was a great, I tell you what, folks, this was a fantastic show we had last week. And it's actually a great thing that happened last week. We got some pretty impressive conversation. We had some pretty impressive uploads that came from that. And it was good. It worked out great. So thank you so much, everybody, for having such a great show last week. So we're going to keep it going. And I was watching the chat, sort of, as I was sort of prepping the show and everything was, I was getting everything kind of going, right? Things about clickbait and stuff like that. Folks, we don't do clickbait in the LZ. So, tonight, as the title suggests, we have some information to share for you that is going to maybe not blow your mind, but give you some hope. And if you saw Avengers Endgame, which is out today on digital, you know that thing that Hawkeye said about not giving him hope, right? But I wanted to hype it up a little bit earlier, but I could not validate it to the point that I could. So we are still going to talk about it tonight. Potential release date news. Because my DMs have been full of messages from multiple sources telling me about a potential release date window. And it's probably what you might think that it is, right? So I will have a special guest on the show tonight that will help, the one who brought that to me. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some Waking Titan from like last year coming back to haunt us again just yesterday. That's news for us here for the LZ to talk about. And I want to talk about how y'all are getting through this, right? How are we making it through the wait? How are we what games are we playing? I want to get you involved in the conversation. This show is going to run hopefully a lot smoother than the last one because I know we had some audio issues that were with one or two of the folks talking with us. There were like they were coming in and out, and I think that was some of the gameplay. So instead of me playing the game, which will actually help me focus more on the chat this time around, I promise I will do that. This is actually recorded footage. So this is from the game, from PC. This is running the NMS Fantasy mod, for those of you who are going to probably ask. Yes, it is super pretty. So first things first, before we get into the meat of today's conversations, because I do want to bring y'all onto the call. I want to have a nice meaty conversation tonight. I apologize. I did not think this through last week, but I know the Democratic debate is happening right now, and we still have 56 people in here. So I am super proud to have that happening for those of y'all who might be missing the debates or whatever. If that's the entertainment for your evening, I will try to make this be as entertaining, or probably more entertaining, than watching a bunch of politicians talk. So, here we go. First things first, if you would like to get into the conversation, I can't stress this enough, check the description below. And I'll even pop it into the chat for you here. That's going to be that's to the LZ Discord. That is to get you in. Now, I'll show you exactly what you need to do. You just jump into the waiting room. You and others will be there to talk amongst yourselves if you like, and then we'll hopefully pull you in. PG's watching the debate with his other eye. He's, I mean, that's a strategy, right? That's how we multitask around here. You are better at it than I am. So, with that, good to see you all. Before we get talking tonight, I want to give out a special thanks to somebody. I wanted to thank them last week, but I didn't know it was them. But they tweeted at me this morning. They tweeted at me. First off, folks, I want you all to see this pretty face. Look at this pretty face right here. Does anybody know who that is? That's my brother from another mother. That's my man, Mr. Cloud Runner, on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. So please do follow him. And hello, Mr. Cloud Runner, if you are in. But more importantly than this beautiful face, this beautiful Canadian face, is this beautiful T-shirt. So I want to say thanks to my man Cloud Runner for picking up an LZ T-shirt. Look at how well it accentuates. It gives him plus 10 sexualism or so. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for that. And also, DD Blacksmithing, thank you so much for calling out for hitting the like button. Thank you all so much for hitting the like button for me. Voldemort Burr says, will that be sex if I wear it? I mean, I don't want to back that up for fear of lawsuits or whatever. But you could. I think the legacy. If I have ever gotten any compliments about my channel, one of them is my voice. I hear a lot about my voice, and I hear a lot about the logo. So I turned it into a T-shirt. So I want to thank Mr. Cloud Runner for picking up a T-shirt for the LZ. Mr. Cobra TV is also in the chat. Hello, everybody, to Mr. Cobra TV. He's stopping in before he heads to work. To go work for the man. Good to see you, pal. All right. So, I'm going to show it here for all of you, just so if you're looking to jump into the call, I've got a handful of folks waiting in the waiting room already. So if you are looking to jump in to the conversation, hang out there for a little bit, we're going to jump right into tonight's news, talking about potential release date information, and talking about some Waking Titan stuff. It's not exactly Waking Titan news, but it's Waking Titan sort of coming back from the dead. And I honestly forgot all about this until yesterday. So with that, let us begin. So first things first, I need to grab headphones. I knew I was forgetting something. Last show I had those sort of like in-ear headphones, and I hate those things. They bother me so much. Having crap in my ears, it's terrible. For those of you asking what is Waking Titan, I know a lot of you didn't participate in Waking Titan because it was more of a PC, PS4 thing that sort of led into the Xbox launch. So it was basically an ARG that for probably many months leading up to Atlas Rises. I think it was Atlas Rises that it was. Yeah, it was leading up to Atlas Rises. And the reveal of that particularly large update, which is widely referred, at least from my perspective, as the sort of defining thing that sort of made No Man's Sky whole, at least if you ask me, right? That was the update that silenced a lot of the missing features rhetoric that we got before that. So let's talk about this first. I'm going to bring one guest in right now. It's my man, Mr. Southern Card. I'm going to bring him in now, and hopefully, I'm going to jump in myself here. Mr. Southern Card, how can I hear ya?
All right, let me mute the stream here.
All right, here, let me get everybody to get his voice up. There we go.
All right, you got me?
There we go. Here, can everybody hear Mr. Southern Card okay? Go ahead, give them some words so they can hear you.
Testing.
Testing. He's got such an awesome gravelly voice. I love it. It's good stuff.
I'm glad somebody likes it.
Yeah? Give it to him, y'all. So, I want to talk to y'all about Southern Card here real quick. Because today, and I was going to hype this up on Twitter earlier. I'd even said, watch this tweet. Because we had some sort of development coming on as far as information for the release date. At first, and here's the thing. On the surface of things, it was already news to me, so I already wanted to talk about it. The other thing was that I wanted to discuss just sort of validating this news, right? Because I am not about take him down to 75%. Okay. I wanted to just make sure this is not news that you just want to bring to. Okay, let them know now. Let's see. Anyway, this is not news that you just bring to this community without having some receipts. So the few of us spent the afternoon sort of trying to get this going, and we finally got some verifiable information. So, Mr. Southern Card, if you could you please take the listeners through what it is that you encountered today and what you brought to our attention? And then I want to, before we get into this, I want to preface this, everybody, is please, this is not solid information, right?
Not whatsoever.
This is, I like the source that it came from. That I find has some legitimacy. But it is not concrete. I even if it looks concrete and feels concrete, I'm just adding the asterisk there for Mr. Southern Card's cover your ass, cover my ass,
exactly.
right? You know,
Yep.
I'm going to present you everything that you need to see, and he's going to walk us through it. Hello, Mr. Yaucha. Hey, Walt Peters, I see you there. Okay, so please, Mr. Southern Card, walk us through what you told me today.
Okay, so I tried this last week and didn't get anywhere. So I was sitting at work today, had about an hour left to kill. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get back on PlayStation chat support and try one more time to see if I can get any kind of info whatsoever. So I get on there. The first guy I talked to, his name was Gabriel. Gabriel gave me some information, if you want to call it that. I asked him if he knew anything about when the VR version of No Man's Sky would be on the store, when it would be available for purchase. And he said what they've been told is August 16th. That being said, as Legacy has reiterated, and I'm going to reiterate again, this is about as flimsy as you can get.
But that's not the most
Especially with it
exciting
being,
part.
especially with it being chat support.
Yeah, let's pause there for a second because, okay, so this was the information that was delivered to me. So when it was brought to me, my ask was that I need lightning to strike twice in the same spot. So I needed my ask was that, okay, I hear you. If chat support for Sony is saying the 16th, I want them to say it again. Sort of like, okay, let's if they say it again, to me it feels more valid. Because it could have been some random nobody looking on Google. Yeah. They could have said August of 2016. This was also part of the conversation, right? So here's the thing, and I don't want to bring this news, hype this news, because I wanted to be able to verify it. So I asked Mr. Southern Card to go back, and not only y'all tell me what's going on with the audio. I want to make sure that everybody's good, and I'm still kind of garbage with audio in general, so I want to make sure that everybody can hear okay, but I'm not blowing your eardrums out. So please do. I'm watching the chat very closely, much closely than I did last week. And then we'll go from there. So I asked you to verify it. So
Yeah.
you went back, and I was
Yes,
like,
under a different account.
Yes, yeah, I need receipts.
Yep.
Because and you said, I was wondering why you did a different account when I was reading your chat, and when I chatted, they wouldn't let me chat again. They were like, sorry,
Right. Exactly.
you should probably call
Yep.
so we can fix your problem,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. So I had to do it under my backup account.
So please walk us through your next conversation that we needed to have this verified.
Okay. So I went back and, like I said, went through another account and talked to, I think her name was Erica. And kind of the same conversation. Hey, do you have any info as far as a release date? Trying to nail down a time frame so I get my hands on a VR headset, which I'm not. That was just the excuse that I used.
I saw that, yeah.
And she said, she comes back with, again, August 16th is what we've been told. Tried to not to get too far ahead of your legacy here, but
I have it on screen for it, so
to,
everybody can see it. And just so you know, we couldn't capture a screenshot of the chat, but we did end up catching a screenshot of the code in the chat, so we could get verifiable evidence. As you can see there,
she closed the chat before I could grab it.
What a jerk, right? She's like, on to the next one. I work in a call center, so I know what that's like. Please shut up. I want to move on, right, to the next customer or whatever.
Right.
But it says clearly contact chat support, right? Supportplaystation.com, live at post change. So there's the URL address that it leaded to. I do have that information here. But I want to. So he was nice enough to sort of clean that up for us and put it in a Word file so we can all read it. I've got it on screen now so that we can all sort of read through it together. So if you don't mind, I'll read through that, kind of go through the high level if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
So Southern Card got Erica on the line, and she seems to be nice. She spells Erica with a K. I like it. It's unique, right? So it says, "Hi Erica, I'm trying to find No Man's Sky Beyond on the store, but I can't find it. I see the base game. I own it, but I can't see the VR version anywhere." I see where you're going with that too. You're sort of trying to bait like a VR version.
Well, they always get there's been so many updates. They always get confused. That's what I'm asking to begin with. So
yeah,
so that's why I kind of just specify VR.
Who are you if you don't try, right?
Right.
Nice to meet you. Let's see. And I sort of tried to hide as much sensitive information as I could. So you pointed out, I talked to an agent earlier. He said that it's not scheduled till I go live until August, until it goes to go live until August 16th. You were very specific about saying August 16th. So I'm not sure if you can confirm that date or not. I'm trying to get everything in line to grab a PSVR for launch. You were much more direct in your sort of persuasive delivery of this. I'm impressed. Mine was just like, yo, when's No Man's Sky Beyond coming? So I probably could have worded mine better. But
I'll be right back, Legacy.
Yeah. So Erica comes back and says, "Nice to meet you. I'll be glad to check and verify." She asks for some information. And then this particular line right here is a validation. This is exactly what I was asking for him to produce for me, right? He told me, okay, I was told on PlayStation support that No Man's Sky Beyond is coming on the 16th. I'm like, okay. I feel like I need more. Like I need somebody to do this again. I need two people to tell you that. I can't just run. It's not very responsible to report this and talk about this if I can't reproduce it, right? I want to see a little bit of consistency. If lightning strikes twice, I think it's worth talking about. It is support chat. They obviously know more than some fake article by a Forbes contributor, right? I think that's absolutely true. But Erica comes out and says, "Thank you for waiting. We have verified, and according to our information, the game will be released on August 16th, as you were sharing. The item is not in the PS Store yet, but it is possible it can be uploaded during these days, so you can be checking on that. In addition, you can check with the game support. You have most updated information from nomansky.com/contact. So we've got three things. The initial, this secondary response, which you're looking at here, and photographic evidence. We couldn't exactly, like he said, we could not get an actual picture of the chat. However, he did get this. He looked up the source code from that particular web page, and it gave it to him, which was good. I accepted that. I see the URL. Everything was good. I chatted afterward, trying to get like a fourth hit, right? I needed some extra stuff. Hey, Martin Requiem. Hey, Enrico Bandito. Good to see you. Jens, this is not posted anywhere. This was accomplished by Mr. Southern Card. He brought this information to us to bring to you live tonight. So this is not a news article. This is legitimate PlayStation support sent this. Now, here's the thing. I don't want anybody to take this in a overhyped direction, right? This could mean anything. But I have, and I mean this particular what we're looking at now, right? I, however, have gotten not just reports here, but I have also been getting reports from other avenues in my Twitter DMs telling me, and these are employees that are with Best Buy, for instance, right? These are people that have direct relationships with like Sony reps, right? And they did not give a specific date, but they did say mid-August, right? Which lines up, right? So let's talk about the 16th, because I want to, now that I have hopefully, why would they mislead their customers, especially if they're making a sale? Here's the thing. I don't think that PlayStation chat support is really making a sale. They're more supporting. I work in a sales environment, and there's a difference between educating and selling. A lot of they share a lot of territory, but you can tell somebody when they have a sales quota that they need to meet, they will go out of their living way to close that sale, right? I mean, obviously we don't have anything to sell him at this point because it wasn't on the sale or on the actual store, according to Erica with a K. But we had multiple sources verify from support chat that the 16th was the release date. Welcome back, Sarah. Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm back.
So let me just recap real quick before we sort of break this down, right? First off, Mr. Southern Card did the initial chat. They told him the 16th. Second, he did it again with the second agent, was told the 16th. Produced verifiable evidence. And now I'm hearing from other avenues mid-August as well. Take of that as you will, right? And not to mention, this is kind of off topic a little bit, but Sony customer service is busy AF. It's a little ridiculous, right?
Oh gosh, it always is.
Has anybody ever tried to contact? Like, let me hear you in the chat. Has anybody ever tried to contact Sony customer support for anything? I'd rather cut my appendix out. It's pretty bad, right?
A lot easier.
It's right. Now, I mean, especially for a credit for something, right? Like, hey, that $10 that you just charged me, actually, I didn't want that thing after the free trial. Can you just give me a store credit for it, right? I still want you to have the money. And like they were like, well, okay, I'll send it to a specialist and see what they say. And you'll hear back within 3 weeks. I'm like, 3 weeks? It's $10. Just freaking keep it, right? So, really appreciative of Mr. Southern Card to bring that information to us and putting in the work to really verify it too. I wanted to hype it more on Twitter, but I just, at the advice of, and we were talking with Cobra too, and Cobra was just like, hey, this kind of thing happened before launch as well, right? And I mean, it's true. It could have been, it could be anything, but I find them more of a trustworthy source than some random speculator on some random unknown website. But a couple of things here. I want to talk about the 16th date for a second. Just to sort of separate it from other dates, right? Obviously, the 16th is not the end of summer. That goes without saying, right? That's more like mid-September, right? Just got here. What did I miss? So, to recap, I have 3 verified avenues that are telling me mid-August, which is a Friday, for No Man's Sky Beyond. Those 2 avenues came from Sony reps. Or the three avenues came from Sony reps, right? We have 2 from PlayStation support chat on the website, and then a third that is directly related to Best Buy. And that's I hope that's true too, because if there's physical editions of this game and they're printing or printed and they're shipping, it's only a matter of time, days, before copies start hitting the wild, right? So keep your hype on that stuff low. But also, the 16th is not really an anniversary for anything, right? So the game launched on the 9th in America, right? Didn't it? The 9th in America, the 12th in Europe. Was it 12th in Europe, right? Y'all keep me honest. This was 3 years ago. I think the other dates or updates were on Friday as well. I mean, they don't have to launch the update and the physical edition at the same time, although I think it would be stupid for them not to. That'd be just weird. I could see them doing a simultaneous launch. But, and it could, of course, conjecture on my part. I just think they're getting their ducks in a row, right? I think the update is done, right? We've seen 2 classifications rate it, right? Germany, Australia. They have our saves files, and they're testing it among that, right? So that's all we know. 16, 16, 16, all in No Man's Sky lore. That's a significant date. That's a significant number too, right? 16. It's a little. I think that's a little too on the nose to be like, we must hold the update until August 16th because we played in our ARG for 2 years. That seems a little excessive to me, but I would buy it, right? I might be a little frustrated if they hold an entire update just so they can launch it on the 16th because 16 was such a significant number for Waking Titan. I'd be like, really, bro? That's come on now. Like that's a little cringe. I'd be a little angry at that too. But other than that, there's no other significant date other than we know it's launching in summer so far, right? August is as summer as it gets before we start getting into the downturn of the warm months, right? And we start going into fall, September, October, things like that. So, what do you think, everybody?
Did you touch on that fake article that had the 16th as a release date?
Does anybody have that article?
I couldn't find it.
I know. I think I saw it in my feed.
I remember seeing it, but I couldn't find it.
Or was it last week that I saw it? If anybody has that, pop that into the Discord for me, and I can check that. Cobra says it's only 7 days past the anniversary, which is what we all thought the release date was back in April. Lot of folks. August, right? And L Plays Gaming started that crap. He cursed us all to wait until August, right? And it's funny, like, anytime we think that there's a new news coming and we don't get anything, he just tweets August with a rocket ship emoji. Like, this is fun for him. Sorry for screwing it down, Martin Requiem. Never be sorry, my man. You're absolutely a favorite. What do you think, everybody? What do you think? How is this news? Is this news legitimate? Does it feel right? How do you feel about the sources being directly from Sony chat? It's all L-Play's fault.
See, interesting enough too. I went to Xbox. As I've never owned an Xbox, so I don't know how their chat support worked.
Mm-mm.
So I asked them the same question. Kind of went through the whole same song and dance, minus the VR, of course. And apparently, Microsoft chat is like just talking to fellow gamers. So they were completely useless.
Oh, I think they have that. It's like a Xbox VIP program or ambassadors.
Okay.
I think it is. They call it.
Okay.
So yeah, and their forums are kind of a mess too. Like the only good part about their chat and their forums on the Xbox.com website, which I highly recommend that y'all do. I recommend going to the "Why Was I Banned" section. That is the best entertainment. That's some great reading for a good afternoon, right? Where you can just read forum posts. My Xbox account was banned forever. Why? And then they will literally tell them why. I am Skrill. Thanks so much for the sub. Welcome to the LZ. And literally, it's posts for days where they're like, why was I banned? And they will literally say, you were banned for saying like racist stuff in a live chat or sending nudes on Uno or whatever. Like, first off, why did they ever provide a camera for these things? Like, no, don't do it. I think they're going to do the billboard on the 16th because it's the day we gave our support to them. That's another iconic date, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, but the 12th is that's the unveiling of the billboard, right? That's just down the street from Hello Kitty Studio.
12th. I think it's the 12th.
I gotta say, I gotta go back to that for a moment because I can't think and be excited for the people enough who put that together. That's wonderful that they did that. We raised how much? Does anybody know the final number of money that we raised on that? Can anybody tell me? Like, I know it hit like 2,000 within like a couple of days.
Last time I saw it was closer to. I think it was closer.
6K.
Was it 6K? Wow.
Jesus.
That's awesome.
6K. Like, man, that thing better be in like full color. Thanks, Voldemort, bro, for the sub. Appreciate you. I got special guests coming in. Look at that. Well, hello there. My little man coming in to say hey. So, wife and little LZ here for the subcast. Here for the show as well. Thank you so much for showing up, my little man. I hear you throwing a fit up there too. How you doing, buddy? He's just looking at everything in just wonder. So, what does everybody think of that 16th, right? Do we feel pretty good about that date? Less than $2,000, yeah, for the billboard. Remainder for charity. That's right. So they were providing, what was it, games, consoles for sick and underprivileged children. That's so great. I think the 12th will keep saying it's my prediction. I think it will happen then, or at least the final update. Hope the release, but I think at least a hint. So yeah,
See, I would think if the 16th, the release date, we're gonna start seeing physical.
Martin Ruckwell, thank you so much for the donation. 16 because LOL 16.
And we're gonna start seeing physical copies in the wild. And some news will break way before the 16th. If not, will break something.
Well, I mean, the last time they were close to leaking something, Sean just sort of voluntarily put the information out.
Right.
So maybe if he's watching this and if we're close.
Yeah, we already know, Sean. Just give us the update.
First off, I'm sorry, Sean. I'm doing my part. You told us you liked this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You liked letting us on the wire and speculating,
They trained
right?
us.
You did this. This is the monster you created. Yeah. So thank y'all so much for the donations there. Super help. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. That helps keep food in the mouths of the LZ family for sure. Somebody posted that article. Let me give that a read. So Digital Wise. I don't even know what the deal is with this one, but I'll bring it up because I saw this earlier and it was speculating about the release date, right? I think it was. Let's see. Hopefully it doesn't pop up any porn ads or something because it's such a sketchy source. But so it says here, after releasing the Visions patch 1.77 and 1.76, No Man's Sky is set to bring new changes to the game, yada yada. Special thing about the new features is totally free of cost, of course. Clean slate protocol if you want the game in VR. Best thing gamers will experience exploring planets. No Man's Sky version expected to release August 16. This is not it. What is this word? This is not it. No Man's Sky also having. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying there. Damn, bro. Put a comma in there. But yeah, okay. So this one's saying August 16th as well. And I remember reading this. And folks, first off, this article is not related to what we did today. Just so you know.
No, not whatsoever.
But now it makes you wonder. Now, first off, it doesn't say where they got this from. It doesn't talk about so it's not uncommon to see sketchy articles for clicks and stuff like that pop up. Remember before launch and after launch? Jesus, the stuff that would pop up on the internet.
Oh yeah.
It was ridiculous, right? So that's kind of creepy how we keep seeing 16 pop up on this from this random source too. So yeah, what the heck? Thanks, Conqueror, for posting that in the Discord.
How far did he have to scroll to find that article?
How far did you have to scroll down? You mean on Google?
Yeah, whoever found it.
How? Let us know in the chat. How was that top search?
Was it buried or was it top search?
Where'd that come from? The dry period.
Because if it was buried,
yeah.
But you know how Cobra was talking about? Maybe they just Googled it and found that article and just gave me that release date. Well, if that article's buried,
I think I saw it on Reddit the other day. Is where I got it from. It was top searches.
Yeah, it was on Reddit. That's true.
Top searches. So that was that floating at the top of Google? That's pretty important. First off, that dude, did you see how many ads are on that page? Top trending. What's more? Stranger Things Season 4 will Mind Flayer return. Possible plot revealed. This guy's making bank off clicks right now. So,
affiliate marketing.
Wow. So, yeah, that got top billing. That site did. I trust the console support like I trust Crackhead with my nip buds. They might run off with that stuff, you're for sure. Maybe it will release when my No Man's Sky goat song gets another 1,000 likes. Just kidding. Did you get that video? That video must have exploded after he tweeted that. That's crazy. That's also a funny video too. Martin, you should definitely do more music videos just like that. That's crazy and classic. So next thing. First off, how do we feel? Last thoughts about release date news. I don't want to consider super hyped about that, right? I don't want y'all to take it as some just definitive information, but it's information, right? And please don't kill me for hyping it. Because I want to be clear, grain of salt.
Or me.
Please don't kill Southern Card. He's certainly a good messenger for it. But at the same time, right, it's nice to know.
Yeah, this is exactly why I did not post it on my own Twitter and stuff. I went to Cobra and one of the Reddit mods. It's kind of, I know how this community is.
YO says, keep up the great work, LZ. No Man's Sky is my favorite game of all time since day one. Bring on the next update. Thank you so much for the donation. The donations, man. Y'all are helping the dude out tonight. Thank you so much. And it's good. And here's the thing, like we, and yes, you said you know this community, and that strikes a nerve because you are absolutely right. Like you need, and it's fair, right? Because here's the thing: the fact that we are so on edge, waiting for this update, and it's so most often impatiently, right? For good reason, right? And Sean's doing that crap on purpose. Just so y'all know, there's 110 people in here, and if y'all thought that Sean was holding information or blah 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 blah, he's making. Here's the thing: the thing about hype, right? He when it comes to hype and your expectations and things like that, listen. Sean Murray is living rent-free in all of your heads right now. Thank you, Joshua, so much for the $1 donation. Also, super helpful. So, y'all got to remember that, right? This is very deliberate. Ray Reynolds says, smells like patch notes in here. Welcome, Ray Reynolds. I tell you what, I would absolutely love to break some news, because here's the thing, like I think that I think he does this on purpose, but I'm thankful for it in a way. I know we talked about it. It was big as far as the topic goes last week. Let me start bringing some other folks in here. I'll bring in Mr. Ivy Mike, of course. Always good to have Ivy Mike. Great conversation from last week. And then I'll throw in Arsenal LC as well. So welcome to the LZ. Thank you for joining. Again, check the description, right? If you want to be a part of the conversation, would love to have you. It smells like my tears of frustration and impatience. And here's the thing. Y'all got to remember, he enjoys doing that stuff, right? He enjoys, because that's the best kind of hype there is knowing that you are constantly thinking about something, right? I have a trip to Europe coming in November 2020. It's all I can think about, right? Like, I've never left the country ever. So just thinking about the idea, like, I got people just creeping into things. Like, now my daughter's creeping into things. Go away, child. Before she starts flossing and whatever, doing Fortnite dances and whatnot. But yeah, anyway, like, it's all I can think about. That's hype for you. That's how hype works. It's the purest of things. And it's good if it's, managed correctly, right? But I don't know. It's good stuff. It's good stuff to have. So, Mr. Ivy Mike, good to see you. Arsenal LC, good to have you. How y'all doing tonight?
What's going on, LZ? How are you?
Hello. How's everybody say hi to my good boys, Ivy Mike. Southern Card's still with us, and Arsenal LC.
What's up, guys?
Hello, my fellow.
So, now that we've gotten the sort of, Southern Card, I was nervous about talking about that too. I'm not even going to lie.
I know it.
Because I just didn't want people to think that we were peddling misinformation. So,
Exactly.
you heard it here. The 16th, it could happen. Multiple sources have verified through PlayStation and through Best Buy, through Sony reps. 16th is what they're aiming for. That's what we're told. Please don't take that as gospel. That is absolutely not gospel. Fortnite's not greater than No Man's Sky. I would agree with this.
LZ, if you think Hello Games had a bad after launch, if it doesn't launch on the 16th, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
I'll just delete my social.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Maybe lock your account for like a week, right? Just lock it. Like, no, like, you can't see my tweets. Yeah, that's probably best. I'll probably do it too. Like, almost like you got doxxed, right? Just change your screen name or whatnot. But so the next subject that I want to bring up, I want to talk about Waking Titan coming back from the dead for a second, because, and you would be forgiven if you didn't know about this, or if you had forgotten about this. So I'll go back to Mr. Peaceful Gamer's Twitter here. And he did a nice tweet about it yesterday. If you participated in the No Man's Sky Explorer feedback survey late last year, you may want to check your inbox. Looks like Hello Games are contacting the 5 randomly selected winners who participated. So this was posted on Reddit earlier yesterday. We took a survey. Y'all remember we took a survey late last year, shortly after Waking Titan and after Next launched, and this is sort of just like the from the grave.
Was this Cobra's survey?
So no, this was y'all keep me honest. This was Hello Games' direct survey that they did. Sort of, I think was this sort of the questions for Cobra survey? Y'all help me remember.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was the stuff that it also included, like if we wanted Waking.
So even they're bringing up the survey?
The survey will not. So
No.
the survey won't stop haunting us. And here's the thing. It keeps coming back. And here's the thing. Cobra has got a good point about that survey. That survey is like, it's sort of like the guide. It's almost like the sort of, what are we talking about? The content path that they've sort of planned out for us, right? And it's coming true, right? You can verifiably, he's got that guy must have that JPEG on his desktop, just lording it over everybody, and it's true, right? Like Mr. Dad Cobra, like he knows what he's talking about when it comes to that. He brings it up every time, and even though you might do a cringe, you're probably like, "Yo, that's true, right? This was Visions. This was the Abyss. These were the things that we got, and it happened." But this was before we got the results for that, right? Or started seeing the results.
Yeah, because Abyss, Vision, Cobra.
I think we got to speak a little louder or bring the mic a little closer to you there, Arsenal. Arsenal, weren't you one?
Yeah. I was the first person to post on Reddit about it.
Okay, yeah. That's literally what happened. So you got an email, and sadly, my email that I used to take that survey is now dead. So I will never know if I'm a winner or not. So y'all, I get to live vicariously through y'all. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm never gonna win anything. But
Yeah. So here, help me out here with this. Oh, that is Arsenal's screenshot, by the way. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's take a look at this. So I hope we've bleeped out any personal information on this
I
prior
didn't post
to.
anything with any.
Oh, good. I ain't trying to have your email
actual-
blow up by 100
no,
people.
It's good. I was a little leery about posting it myself because I didn't know even if they wanted me to. But then somebody else came forward like 6 hours later and showed theirs as well.
Got it. Okay, so we had more, right? How many are we at now? We're just 2?
Me and your basic maths, I know, are 2. They're the only 2 that have posted on so far.
Oh, your
Yeah,
basic
I-
maths
we
one.
won. Yeah.
That's great. Okay. So Hello Games reached out. It's weird that we're a year out. This was like a year ago that we took this survey, and it says, "Thanks so much for the Explorer feedback. We ran a survey late last year, mentioned that we could select 5 winners at random to receive a prize, and you have been selected. We'd like to send you some physical goodies." I wonder what those physical goodies are. Have they been in contact, or have you? I assume you sent them your address.
Oh yeah, of course. I assume it's what like Peaceful Gamer, kind of during Waking Titan. It's probably some socks, and poster.
Really,
Anything.
Atlas socks? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I'm cool with anything.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah,
I don't.
I'd be
I
happy
do.
with
So
just an empty box for the signed by all.
there you go. Right now, they sent out prizes before. Right. This was with the tapes. Right. There was socks. There was what else was there?
Besides the Atlas Pass.
There was Atlas Pass. Were there Atlas Passes in those? There weren't Atlas Passes. I'm talking about like the original tapes, like when the ARG was just getting going.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't even know who all won.
Yeah, I think we only got like 8 of the tapes, didn't we? There was hamster food.
There
Yep, they
was-
sent hamster
there
food to
was some
Cobra. I remember that.
8 or that we got.
Which is creepy, by the way, hamster food. Without any context, that would be weird. So, yeah, I'm with you there.
Yep,
Black Scarlet says,
sure.
I want to join.
So-
Black Scarlet, in the
Cobra was
Discord,
posted.
if you want to join, just hop into the waiting room. I would like to get through as many people as possible tonight. We might even just go Battle Royale up in this chat and just start all of us talking, because if it's one thing that I learned from Convergence is that Convergence, we have such great live conversation and nobody interrupts each other. I think it's brilliant. So yes, please do jump into the waiting room. You'll see that on the left there. Let me bring it on the screen for you. I see you there, right? So we're gonna be. Oh, why you? Okay, here it is. Waiting room, right there. Click it. Jump right on in. Do the thing. Yalcha says, sounds like a game being played in the background with a rhythm sound to it. I might have a bad dream tonight about that repetitive sound. It's either that or somebody's like grinding metal or something. It's coming from you, Southern Card. Sounds like a, what do you call it? Silent Hill in the background. All right. So let's kind of, here's a warning for everybody. We're going to enter into speculation territory real quick. Tell me in the chat. Tell me kind of what's going on. What do you think? Hello Games, and I want to preface this with this, right? I feel like this is important to bring up. What do you think this is going to be? And I want to preface it with, this is a year later. We are days or even weeks away. Like, what could this be exactly? Let me hear you.
I feel like it's too close to be an ARG relaunch.
I think Waking Titan's just dead, right? Didn't they take the website down and everything? Like, it's done.
Yeah.
Sorry, Peaceful Gamer, by the way. I know he wanted that to continue. He was the only one that voted yes on on that survey.
Yeah.
Please continue, Waking Titan.
It would be cool if it's a bunch of VR sets. Everyone does like a sick VR set or something, you know.
I am glad I'm not the only person that said it. Because I'm like, okay, we're close, but wouldn't it be cool if they're sending out like No Man's Sky Beyond VR pack-in unit things, right? Is that you, Arsenal, having a load fit over there?
Load fit? Nah.
Have you got PSVR already?
Oh yes, yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Picked it up about a month ago.
Yeah. Oh gosh, don't forget to hook your brother up over there. If you got an extra
Oh, if
PSVR sitting around.
If I get a VR hit, if I get a VR hit.
Peaceful Gamer just bought PSVR too. I think y'all ready. It says no, I know it's dead for now. They did re-register the Waking Titan site until 2020. I forgot about that. So the domain is still live. Well, it's still purchased, right? It's still paid for. So that's good to know if they ever decide, hey, it could be, you know what? They could be saving it for whatever No Man's Sky Online is too, right? Because we don't know to the extent of where that's going, how big that's going to be. I had a reread of the website today again, and it said radical new multiplayer. Like, now, I don't know how much heavy lifting the word radical is doing in that sentence, but, like, radical to me means different, right? Huge change, not typically done before. So, I don't know. Is Rayrod plugging away? Yeah, I think he's working on another mod right now. Pillar 3, Apple TV would be pretty lame in my opinion. You are absolutely right. And it might not even be just Apple TV, too. Remember, we have Stadia. So that's a thing, right?
I don't think it's going to be a port.
You don't think it's going to be a port?
No.
No. And here's the thing. I don't want to downplay a tiny team and how much work it would take. But from what I hear, it won't be as much work to get something like that running on a streaming platform like Stadia or Apple TV as it would be like porting it to Xbox, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I mean that's a little bit different, right? Whereas most streaming services these days just take the native hardware and just find a way to stream it and have a backwards and forward conversation with your controller inputs, right? Provided you have an internet that isn't AOL dial-up from back in the day, but that's hyperbole, but you know what I mean. So wouldn't y'all flip out, right? All of a sudden, like, we've got VR headsets going out to these lucky contestants who've won, right? VR headsets, the new, because we know that they're reprinting No Man's Sky and re-releasing it on PS4, which is super exciting. I'm pretty excited for that too. Have they been back in contact with you since you responded to their correspondence?
The only they've told me confirmation package.
I'm sorry, you kind of broke up on me there. Let me make sure I got you.
I'm sorry.
Okay, go for it.
All they said was that they would confirm the package.
That they would send you confirmation, or that they did give you confirmation?
They would.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming it's probably coming from Guildford.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is. So, does anybody remember when they were sending out the original stuff? And Cobra, if he's still here, he might be able to answer that too. About how long it took for them to send something. Well, I don't know. That's not really a fair question, because I know, for instance, like the gerbil food, that came from Canada, didn't it? That was from Allison Smith directly.
Does
anybody remember?
I think it was.
Yeah, I think that was
probably on
directly from
Damien.
Allison Smith back in the day.
But
God, it's so long ago, isn't it?
Yeah.
it just feels like it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good to know. And here's the thing. If you think you are being sweaty about the wait for Beyond, this popped up in my feed today. Even the Twitter check marks are getting anxious and checking in on Sean Murray. Did y'all see that tweet from Gothalion? Or Gothalion, whatever he says. He says, at No Man's Sky, hey, bud, y'all good over there? ? Like, you got friends doing checkups and check-ins on people now, right? When even you've got the check marks worried and ready for more information, right? That's huge.
Just
And
as hyped as we are.
yeah, and bless your hearts too, because these responses are gold, right? Just the gifts, right? Dylan's there, Ray's there. Like, this is a great time. So I appreciate that everybody's having mostly a fun time, right? Yeah. If you want to know thirsty, look at Heath's reply. That is both entertaining, funny, and maybe a little pathetic, because that's how I feel, right? Right. We are particularly sweaty for this game, and
I got the email and ran straight to the PS4.
I'm sorry?
I said I got that email and I ran straight for my PS4 and was like, the update.
So I know that feeling when you receive an email from Hello Games, or you receive because actually 2 days before launch, or the day before launch, was when I woke up just like at 6 o'clock in the morning. I went to I sort of zombied to the bathroom. For whatever reason, I decided to check my email while I had my phone in my hand. Like, first off, who checks their email at the toilet at 6 a.m., right? And all of a sudden,
more than I need to admit.
yeah, like, and the squeal that I let out was like a child finding out what Santa brought them and waking up my entire house when I have a review code for No Man's Sky in my email. And I'm like, I didn't ask for this, but thanks, as I'm running through the house like Kevin McAllister, right?
Yeah.
So I know that feeling, right? And then here's the thing. I keep saying that tonight. That's my phrase tonight. Here's the thing. They have dropped updates out of nowhere before, right?
Yep.
Weren't there updates before? They're just one morning Like I would wake up and
Foundation
my
was like that.
yeah. My Twitter is
Foundation and
going off
Pathfinder.
going downloading now, and I'm like, what? As I'm wiping the crust out of my eyes.
Yeah.
When was the
Yeah.
last time that happened? I swear that was. I swear
Well,
that was.
Visions, it leaked, right? Then we got the trailer the day before.
Yeah,
That was the fast. And then Abyss, I think we got maybe a week before. Atlas Rises, we got the trailer and patch notes 2 or 3 days before. So it was Pathfinder and Foundations was when they
Yeah.
just live dropped it that day. You got patch notes, trailer, and update in the same like 24-hour period. Those were
Boom.
times.
I remember they leaked that too. Like poor Sean. And here's the thing: I didn't even know that if a video was in a playlist, that it shows up regardless of if it's private or not. So, ooh.
Can you imagine the ass chewing that guy got?
It might have been Sean. Like it might.
Yeah,
I
it
don't know
could've
who. I don't know who runs the channel, but oops.
Yeah.
Wow. And Abyss was the same way. Didn't Abyss get just kind
Yeah.
of land out of nowhere? And I know the first 3 updates, they didn't really have a lead up to those either. Just sort of
Well, the
boom,
third
here
one
it is, right?
was Rise to Awaken Titan.
That's right. Yep, Atlas Rises. That was led through. So why did I say 3 updates? First 2 updates, I mean, sorry. Like there's been so
They were-
many now that
The
it
first
just
2 was when they were silent.
Yep. So Pathfinder. What was the first one?
Atlas
Oh,
Rises.
Yeah,
And
so
then
Atlas
other-
Rises with the Foundations is what I meant to say. Whoops. Like
Yeah.
I'm touching 40, the brain is going. But that's true, and they just sort of unceremoniously dropped them. And boom, there it is, right? And then you get Atlas Rises that sort of had a really nice lead up. And good memories from that one too. For sure. Like Survey has been the lead up. Cobra's bringing the survey back up. Look at that. That's amazing.
Atlas Rises had a little bit of a leak too, didn't it?
Atlas
The
Rises.
SEO leak.
So Atlas Rises had Waking Titan to carry it, didn't it? For a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it did most of the heavy lifting, but like the night before it dropped,
Yeah.
like there was a SEO leak or something. That's how we found out about Joint Exploration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. SEO leak.
So, yeah, like Google pulled keywords or something
Oh,
from one of
yeah.
the website's page that wasn't up yet.
I'm gonna try to fix the
Set the
chat
subreddit on fire.
because I know we broke the chat again. So let me try to fix that again here. Let's see if that works. This did this to me last show too. Like I love having the chat on the screen, especially for when we re-upload these episodes and stuff, but it dies so easily. Like with just a little bit of volume, suddenly it's just like I can't do it. But it's a desperate time when even the check marks on Twitter are getting thirsty.
Legacy.
Yes.
I'm gonna drop a link here on the Discord. It's to the SteamDB page. I know nothing about Steam, but is it just me, or does it look kind of fishy that the change numbers have been crazy for like the last week?
Where in the Discord is that?
Members only channel.
Members only. Yep, I see it there. Let's take a look at it because I know this has been
Just changed 3 hours ago.
this has been coming up too.
But I don't know. I mean, it's probably just a useless change.
I don't know, not
Yeah.
necessarily. The Steam DB has done quite a bit of heavy lifting for us in reveals and information. Like they don't update their paths anymore like they used to. Like remember like what was it? The main game branch or whatever, like they don't touch those anymore
No, yeah.
because they know we scrutinize that stuff quite crazily. But let me check. I gotta remember how to navigate this thing. History, right? So about 3 hours ago, there was another change. I know that it doesn't really go too in depth on what this now. See, when I click it, I think it brings up like a list of games. So it might just be one of those. Every once in a while, Steam drops a sort of packet for a lot or all of its games to do something.
That's what I kind of figured.
Yeah. So it is. I think I think the Steam DB is just not something to focus so much on. I think when we start, really the only thing Steam reliability wise, is the beta branch, right? They've been kind of keeping up on that a little bit. We haven't seen an update on it so far, but they kind of wanted to trial and test out what it was to get Vulkan going, which is cool.
Yeah.
I had to shut off the beta branch because it was not being too kind to my PC. Like it hurt my performance, but I'm not on AMD, so that's a big difference. I think it's great that they're doing that though. It's super helpful. Optimization is going to be super important for VR. And I'm glad that's obviously not component 3, right? If it was component 3, they would have said it's component 3. It's going to be much more significant than that. But so I've got a question for all of you. And then I think at some point here I want to try to open this up to the rest of those. If you're looking to jump into the conversation, right, check up below. Look at the description. Follow the instructions there, right? Join the LZ Discord. And then jump into the waiting room. And then we'll hopefully at some point look at getting you in. I took a nap and then I missed the start of the LZ stream. Well, you're here. That's what's most important. And I'm glad to have you all. My monitor's shaking. Oh, gosh. Levi's here. Enrico Bendito. Scott, good to see you. J-Spot. I got PG still in the chat. Devlin, good to see all of you. Mr. Cobra's still here. Paolo's here. I think I'm doing a little bit better at checking the chat this time around. I'm trying to pat myself on the back just a little bit. But let's see here. Just got off the chat with Sony, No Man Smiles saying, what'd you get? That was in the Discord, by the way, y'all. I'm interested. I was maybe a little bit worried that people were going to start chatting Sony after we did.
It's not our problem.
Just know that I did not instruct y'all to do that. But those people might just be getting their money's worth after tonight. They were like, man, why did our chat pick up by like 3,000?
If you change all of your dates on your phones and on your PlayStation to August 16th, you'll get the update now. Just let you know.
Say what?
No, I said if you change the date on your PlayStation, it'll update now. Just change it to August 16th.
Gotcha. I think it has to be on the servers first. That's nice going though. I like that you say that. You've been cheese. Thank you so much for joining into the chat. We put up an upload because of a question you asked a couple days ago. As far as I forget what the question was, but something about I think it was about online, about multiplayer PvP in general. But thanks for that question. That was a good discussion that we had last week. Tyler Thunder's still here too. We're gonna look at getting there. So the next one, I want to have a discussion about what happens, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here. But I've been seeing a lot of discussion on Twitter about delay. The naughty word, the ugly word, the scary word. How would you react if that would be the news that we got, that maybe they delayed it to fall for whatever reason? Like maybe they wanted to put in a couple of extra tweaks. There was a couple of extra things they wanted to throw in.
I mean, that's fine. Just let us know.
Yeah, as long as they're communicative about it and they let us know it specifically, and they maybe said, hey, it's going to be another 2 weeks, so we got to fix it right.
Yep.
You appreciate that instead of that. Not to say I'm not looking forward to finding all the bugs and going through the reporting process and all that again. I enjoy that a lot, but communication would be good if they're not a delay.
Yep.
So I agree, right? And I understand that you like to be. I understand that Sean likes to be not particularly transparent throughout that, which is fine. But is that kind of confirmation necessary? Like, would we need that? Is that required for us to know if they just sort of delayed it, right? We expect that, don't we?
I mean, it
Yeah,
depends on when they delay it, I guess.
If they had pushed it to fall or winter, because they did tell us summer.
If they delay, take down the billboard. Never mind, forget it. We take it back. We'll give that extra $1,000 to, I don't know,
Hello lies on.
another development studio. But okay, so what? So I've seen the chat so far. I'll say it's Casey says I'll try hard to wait. Devlin says I'll die inside. Nothing we can do but wait, of course. Straight time to purge. Oh my God. like the movie The Purge? Oh no. Soon as possible notice if a delay. I agree. Enrico Petito says riot. It'd be that bad, huh? Oh no. Good. So I mean, would that be if they came back and said, "Hey, we're going to delay the game just cuz there's this extra thing," or we wanted to have a little more time, or maybe we want to run a beta test, right? Wouldn't that be kind of interesting, like to have a beta test for whatever it is that No Man's Sky Online is?
Tell you what, I wish they would do that anyway.
Yeah.
So we didn't have so many bugs with every update.
That's hard to argue with. That is absolutely hard to argue with. Matter of fact, I'm kind of, hey, anybody from Hello Games watching, that's a great idea. Can we have a beta test, please?
Yes.
We're already getting this.
Go ahead. You kind of cut in there, and you kind of drowned out.
I'm sorry. I just said we're already getting this for free.
That's true. Speaking of update, real quick, No Man Smile says same situation explained to them about VR, and they said no updates on the release date of No Man from Sony team on No Man's Sky VR. So yeah, it just looks random, like depending on who you get, what they're willing to see, where they're getting the information from. I mean, it could be just they could have randomly got it from that article. That was something else we talked about earlier as a possibility. Like they just read the article. And then the article is like, yeah, August 16th. That looks like a reliable source. Oh, God.
Yeah, they Google their sources, you know.
Oh, no. First off, that's a bad mistake. Like, working in that line of work like I do, like, Google is not a place you want to go for that kind of information unless you're looking for, like, obituaries or something, right? Hey, this customer died. You kind of want to maybe turn their services off because they're dead. I'm in queue for PS support. Peaceful Gamer's throwing his hat in. He's extra convincing, so we'll see what happens. Let's just hope that he doesn't pass out from his narcolepsy while he's waiting, because that's quite the queue, right? So everybody cheer Peaceful Gamer on. So let me ask, now that we've sort of got the delay part of the way, and frankly, I don't think it's going to delay, right? I think since the game has already been classified, I think the only thing that would delay No Man's Sky, Beyond particularly, is if it's not meeting the standard for VR, right? It's because there was an article that I can, maybe one of us can bring up. It was a Polygon article, and they said that Sony has basically said, if your game has frame drops, we won't certify you for VR particularly.
It has to run it.
So that's a pretty harsh. I mean, No Man's Sky, and even on PS4 Pro, because it's my primary platform. Even though I usually like to show PC gameplay here on the channel, just because it's crisp and pretty. But and the frame rate especially is very reliable. For the most part, unless you're running a mod, right? If you're running Ray Rod's mod or Red Mist's mod, right, it could choke it down a bit. But if you're running vanilla, it's okay, right? But on PS4, I don't have Xbox. I couldn't say. Maybe our folks in the Xbox, whether it's Xbox One or Xbox One X, could chime in. They got to meet 60 frames, and if they don't, they can't release. What do y'all think about that?
It's got to be part of the
Oh.
always.
Look at that. Somebody delivered. Look at this. That's good. Sorry, you kind of cut in and out on me there. I was gonna. There we go. Let me bring that back up here.
I'm walking out.
Oh yeah, you're kind of breaking. Oh, is that what's going on? You got a choppy. That works. I do that, like even in my own house that happens. So Sony to devs, if you drop below 60 frames per second in VR, we will not certify your game. This was an article from 2016. That's huge. So No Man's Sky has to be able to beat that without VR.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if it's already been rated in Australia, they've already passed that hurdle.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You would think so. That shouldn't be an issue.
No, of course, there's other tricks to make sure and hopefully make sure that they're meeting the 60 frames per second, right? You have dynamic resolution. A lot of games do that now, right, to maintain a frame rate where they'll have the game sort of systematically drop resolution, like the quality of the picture to maintain the frame rate. And I know Jason, I think it was Jason Schreier, whoever had their hands on with VR at Kotaku had said that it's not particularly a looker on PS4 versus obviously what it is for something like PC, which obviously is not really a contest there, not a fair contest anyway. But
how much of a quality drop would you consider acceptable in No Man's Sky? For your PS players.
That's a really good topic. What do you think, VR owners? And just generally, I don't think this is even a VR specific discussion either, is it? Like, just generally, if they were to optimize No Man's Sky to get it, what would be a level of, let's just say, if it did, right? If we have to. If they sort of make graphical cuts or whatnot to No Man's Sky, right, in order to achieve that target frame rate. I'll barf forever. Oh, is that for VR specific?
Yeah, I think the graphic cuts will only be made inside. They're not gonna.
They're not gonna cut it. They have to. All games do. Yeah, I mean. They're doing a pretty significant engine overhaul from what I heard, right? Did I read that right? Or
Yeah, they're redoing everything.
Yeah, that was a blog post.
Yeah, that was in the blog post. Okay, I knew I read it somewhere. Peaceful Gamer says PS4 does reprojection to 120 frames per second, 60 per eye. That's right. But they got to target 60, right? They got to hit that 60 for both eyes, so that way you're not barfing all over the place and passing out and getting massive headaches, which isn't a gigantic fear of mine.
Yeah. As
far as, like discomfort for VR particularly, but Scott says post Vulcan, they're not cutting graphical enhancements. Look at the Beyond teaser, it looks slick. And that could be true too, right? I mean,
yeah, but that was probably running on like two Titan X's in SLI on the sickest PC ever. They're not going to put their trailer out from a PlayStation. Unfortunately.
Now, to be fair, to his point, but you're probably right anyway, because if you're smart and you want to market your game, you're doing it from the PC version, obviously, right? And that's not me being a console warrior. PS4 is my primary No Man's Sky thing, but Vulcan, to Scott's point, Vulcan is an AMD thing, and so it isn't just PC that's taking advantage of Vulcan, right? It's an AMD platform. It's an AMD API, right? And it was made pretty popular. I think it was back in sometime before Battlefield 5 launched. Because I know
Doom 4 is probably the best game that runs on Vulkan and runs the best. Doom 4 looks incredible on any PC.
Doom, yeah, the new Doom,
and on consoles.
Yeah,
the current one that's out and the new one coming.
Yeah, and that's true. And like it even runs like butter on my PC, which is OpenGL, right? And because that's a very well optimized game. And maybe they didn't really set out for particular optimization. Y'all remember when No Man's Sky launched, at least on PS4, it was pretty hard 30 lock, right? It was 30 frames per second. I was a little disappointed, but I could get over it. But when they started, and it's not like they haven't been optimizing for a while. I mean, because when we got, I think it was Pathfinder, right? When they started adding PS4 Pro support, and just general optimization, they unlocked the frame rate on PS4 base, and then more so targeted performance mode on PS4 Pro. Vulkan was AMD, but was sold to another company. Now it is a platform agnostic. Oh, that's interesting. So it's I thought it was just AMD specific for more AMD APIs, right? AMD
No,
GPUs.
I'm running NVIDIA, and I saw probably about a 20 to 30 frame increase switching over to the experimental.
And you're on NVIDIA because it killed performance for me. Well, I was getting a lot of hangups, so it wasn't. I was running a mod though, if that helps. But it.
Yeah, I don't know how the mods. I don't run any mods, so
Yeah.
I don't know if that is a difference.
I should try it without it and see what happens. Just to see if I can. Runs NVIDIA. 1070 Ti game looks good. Yep, I got a 1070 as well. Not the Ti, but the OG Ti, or the OG 1070. It was a good value, too. It was only $350 for that GPU, which at the time was super reliable. Such a good GPU for the money. So, I mean, it wasn't exactly a 1080, but it gave me exactly what I needed, right? It gave me 8 gigs of virtual RAM. It gave me good power, right? So, wow, good on them. But interesting. But so let me do this. I'm going to start bringing in a few more folks. So I got Tyler Thunder and I got No Man's Smile. Thank y'all so much for joining in. Again, last call while we sort of wait and agonize over No Man's Sky Beyond. And
cool. Hey, so Ozzy.
Hey, what's going on?
Guys?
How's it going?
How you guys doing? You guys doing good?
We got Tyler in here. Good to hear you.
Yep.
How's it going, guys?
Let's see. And then I think we lost No Man's Smile.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh no, you're there. But where did
there
Tyler
you
go?
go.
I hear you, No Man's Smile. Never mind. We lost Tyler. Where'd Tyler go? Tyler just like hello, and then dipped.
Yeah.
He's going, any.
Maybe that happened. That's okay. Jump back in the waiting room if you want to jump back in. So what last topics should we hash out for the evening? Just put it out there. Open forum.
Component 3 is E3 visuals. I'm just kidding.
Component 3 is E3 visuals. And you know what? That's actually you laugh, but I think that is a pretty good topic because there's that's a lot of discussion that I see in this sort of the Reddit verse, Twitter verse, YouTube verse, right? Where they sort of want the E3 visuals back. And
yeah.
What do y'all think about that? Because I know No Man's Sky has progressed a lot graphically, visually, artistically, but I sort of in an uncomfortable amount of folks, I see a lot of I want this E3 build or this E3 trailer or that particular planet or that planet that we all know doesn't exist now. What do we think about that? Like, do we ever think that we'll get back to the sort of the old color?
Nope.
No, we think that's gone for good.
It's hard to say.
I think they moved past that. Their graphic engine now is just so much different than it was. I mean, we lost some things. We did, and I think we all have to accept that at this point. And the game is better than it was by worlds. And there's some things that people miss because we have so much nostalgia of that time period. And that's what I think we brings up those memories. But the game is beyond that at this point. Beyond. Fun.
So that's a good question too. So Okapi, I think that's how you say your name. What happened to the sci-fi book look that was the inspiration? Did we lose that though? I mean, is that?
I think we did.
We think okay. So in Southern Card, I know this was a thing we've talked about this before. This sort of I'm trying to look for the right word to use. This sort of devolution of
Yeah.
the design of No Man's Sky as we knew it back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get that sci-fi feeling very rarely anymore. Everything's
yeah, I feel
way
that.
too Earth-like.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think what made it unique was just that it felt so out of this world,
Yep.
that we kind of wanted to see more.
Well, it felt like if you played, say, Foundation, you set foot on a lush planet that could have green grass, blue grass, pink grass, purple grass. It was crazy. It looked like it was drawn by like a 5-year-old, right? Well,
Yep.
while that may not have appealed to a mass audience, a mass demographic, that's what hooked me in the trailers. Like that crazy, bright colors, bright contrast. Like I want it to look like that again. I don't
Same.
like seeing Earth over and over and over. I can look outside my
Same.
window and see Earth.
That
I
was
can see
something,
blue,
and I
blue
hear that a
skies
lot
and green
too.
grass.
That was another
every
one,
day.
like Earth-like planets, for instance. Like I see that one a lot
Yeah.
too, like E3 planets, and I found this Earth-like planet, and I don't want to throw shade at those folks, right?
There's a billion of them.
Yeah, you're like on one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that or not.
Right.
Earth is quite unique.
Yeah. Like that's not special to me.
Earth
Like,
rather
that's
sucks right
outside.
now. As a matter of fact, like I'm kind of not impressed with Earth right now. Maybe I don't know if it's Earth or humanity or both right now. But I'm just I kind of use No Man's Sky to maybe escape from that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me, and if you're in the chat or if you're here, let me know. Like, I know because I know we've set the standard for the conversation as far as a sort of missing colors, right? We get that because No Man's Sky was much more vibrant before Next. Really, I think it was where it sort of
Yeah.
lost. It sort of washed its colors out for Next.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yep.
what's our take on that? How do we? Do you think that we can go back and I got a follow-up question for that.
Here's what I want, and I realize it's never going to happen. So I'm just gonna, poo in one hand and wish in the other, kind of thing. But
One
I
will
would
fill
like-
up first eventually.
Exactly. I would love to have like a launcher on PC and console. Log in, normal, save, permadeath, or normal, creative, permadeath, survival. Select your mode, and then select which version you want to play.
Okay. So let's
Vanilla Foundations,
Yeah,
have
exactly.
all the other versions.
I would
Yeah,
love
that'd
that.
be
Yeah.
I don't remember because of my goldfish memory if you said it or not, but did you say like Minecraft? Because Minecraft does that to a degree.
No, I didn't, but that's a good point.
Yeah, Minecraft. I used to play a ton of Minecraft. I was like that idiot that was just like when Minecraft was first a thing in like 2010, 2012, somewhere back then. And it's all over YouTube, and I'm like that grouchy young adult where I'm like, what the hell is this? This looks stupid. And then like one Friday, I have like $25 burning a hole in my pocket, and I'm like, what the hell? Why not? I'll try it. And it destroyed me for an entire weekend. Like, it had the best survival mode I think any game has had so far. Like, and it was a continuous gameplay loop of real emergent gameplay that I worry that No Man's Sky may never achieve itself. Right? Because it's weird. It was always something to shoot after, something, even just an arbitrary task of, you know what, I'm going to go find diamonds today.
See,
And the process of doing it was fun, but then after update, Minecraft began to change a lot over the years, right? And they sort of infrequently updated Minecraft, maybe at a wider stretch, because they had Hello Games has like a dozen, maybe 20 some people now on their team. I mean, before Notch sold the company and became the George Lucas of the gaming industry, right? Like you can just sell your franchise for $2 billion and sit in the corner and bitch about the changes they make. Like there was only like a 4-person team that was making that game back in the day. But to your point, on the PC, like it let you go back and uncheck the sort of newer updates and play on older versions of the game, which I thought was cool. So I have a thought on that because, I mean, what does everybody in the chat think, right? Do you think that's a good idea that they sort of just allow you maybe not to or just play any version of the game you want, or tweak kind of how you want the game to play? Like, if they gave you that power, would that be something? Yeah, would that be something you would take?
On PC right now, you can there are links where you can go to Steam and put in a Steam code, and you can download any version you want. You can get the Pathfinder version. You know, you have to make sure you save your save files separately, because it will overwrite your save files and you can have a mess. Yeah, you can
you send that to me
with
later.
Steam.
I'm kind of interested.
Yeah,
in that.
I can send. I'll send you the link for Pathfinder. I have that one. I know the other ones are available. I just don't know where to find them.
Yeah, I might need a tutorial on that because that sounds exciting to me, especially like the Atlas Rises colors. You know, that was like the pinnacle, right? Of what the game.
No, I think Atlas Rises doled everything down.
Yeah,
Before Atlas
like Pathfinder.
Rises, Pathfinder was the best time. I think. Yeah, it was before the new generation, before all the exotic ships. It was the classic.
Yeah, and like from what I remember is like I would land on a planet and you could have like purple and red or like green and pink grass, and that was just something else. I never seen a presentation like that in a game, and honestly made the graphics look a lot better too.
I remember that. Yeah. Where's Zane's World? We need a tutorial. I'm gonna tweet that at him right now. LZ is asking for a tutorial on how to play the older versions on PC.
Yeah, if I could have all the current day features, like the mission boards, the frigate system.
Oh yeah.
And put all that in Pathfinder, dude, I'd be set.
Wow. Yeah, Pathfinder was good. Definitely.
See, here's the thing I see. So when I go on Twitter, I see a lot of you back to 1.0 and just playing that original or Pathfinder, and you know, I completely agree. Like a lot of us kind of attached to one version of the game, and we love that. So I think if they give us that option to switch back and forth, especially on PS4, would be great.
Yeah.
So I have a question for that. And here's the thing, and this is why I generally only play on PS4. Now, of course, you're looking at pretty mods on the screen from capture that I sort of made for background footage for the sake of the video cast, right? But I generally don't enjoy playing with mods. And this is a personal thing of mine. Paulo says, I know you get motion sickness with VR, but would you try No Man's Sky in VR? I absolutely would. It's just finding a place to try it. And then I am dead broke. Like, so $400, or what is it, like $350 now for PSVR? It's just money that is not in LZ's bank. Maybe I should do like a GoFundMe or something. But I have the room for VR. I definitely do. Like, I could carve out a little corner. But to my point, and the reason I don't like playing with mods, because, and this is weird to me, because I generally love to play PC games with mods, right? Skyrim and Grand Theft Auto 5, and mods are absolutely Fallout. But No Man's Sky is the only game I hate using mods for, because I feel like it somehow harms the original vision that Hello Games, their creation, right? I almost feel like it sort of removes. Is that weird of me to say? Like, it just sort of harms the experience?
I feel the same way. I've done Rayrod's mods just to try to be, but then I always go back and I feel like, you know, it's the same thing. I feel like I'm tarnishing their work, and it's just I respect Hello Games so much, I think, you know, more so than any other developer.
And that's not even that. I feel like it's really, I feel like I'm not seeing what Hello Games wants me to see. And they're so passionate about that too, but they went through all that creation, and I feel like once I start injecting like giant things mods and this mod for that and that, changing this terrain and so on and so forth, I'm not seeing what it is that they intended me to see. Now, I mean, I know you could probably use the same argument for any other game, literally, for using mods, but doesn't that feel a little bit different?
It does.
Or am I
It
just
does.
being an unprincipled jerk?
Not. I thought I was the only one who felt that way, but you're right. I have a PC that can run No Man's Sky just fine. I just don't want to buy it because I know I'll mod it. So I just kind of fell in love with that original No Man's Sky, and I don't want to ruin that because I feel like that was all about the presentation, what you can see, the visuals.
Yalcha says, "You just took the words right out of my mouth. I'm amazed at how often you say what's in my head." Well, I'm glad we can relate on that. Like, because it feels kind of vain for me to think that way. And it's nice to maybe have a little validation and maybe not sounding like a jerk. Because Rayrod, like, is super talented, right? The overhaul mod was super cool. Procedural Traveler has been playing Rayrod's and featuring on Twitter a lot of Rayrod's mod. It's super cool. I've even used it to capture footage. Right now, I've been using Redmis's fantasy mod, majorly for the shaders. The shaders are super cool. The ship, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't think it's a real ship. I don't know if it's modded or what, but every video I put out, somebody's posting in my comments going, "Where'd you get that ship? I want coordinates." And I'm like, "Sorry, it's modded. I don't have the coordinates for them." And they're like, "Damn it." But I mean, to that credit, and to Hello Games' credit for all the work they do, and this might sound weird, but I don't think I really even attribute it to just the work they're doing, but more so the galaxy is what it is, and I feel like if I'm modding that, I'm not properly experiencing it like I should, like everybody else is. Especially when No Man's Sky Online gets here, right? It's mods, especially that change up planets and affect terrain and asset sizes and things like that. I almost kind of hope they go the way of the dodo, which sounds mean, or that you can't play online with that, because then you're just going to see people flying into invisible objects because it's their game is modded or not modded. But do you think that should harm the experience, or am I being just a jerk?
I'm with you.
Here's another thought I always have: if I use a mod, it takes away from my in-game immersion because I know I see something different than my friend is, despite standing next to each other. Oh man, that takes me back to launch, like on launch day, when somehow the impossible was done within the first 12 hours and people meet each other. I don't know why that made me remember that, but I'm just like, that was when I sort of backed down in my chair as I'm writing my review for the game, and I'm like, oh, no.
I think mods will have a good place, a year or two after No Man's Sky stops putting out any updates. Then mods will have a good place in No Man's Sky. But like someone just said in chat, while it's still being developed, there's still updates coming. There's still stuff that the developers making in the game. Those mods aren't going to really be able to mature because they're not going to have to be revamped every update like they've had to been.
Totally. And I think on the reverse side, I think when Hello Games sort of moves on away from No Man's Sky, which this is going to sting a little bit, but is going to happen soon, someday, right? I mean, they obviously have to put No Man's Sky down at some point and move on to the next adventure. I almost think that they should, especially for like No Man's Sky Online, right? And I think this is totally a Hello Games thing to do, but provide the source code, right? Provide server code and stuff like that for people to continue the game as it is post its life, right? I mean, because these days, EA, for instance, will like shut down the servers for a game that has a reduced population regardless of who's still playing it because they don't want to foot the bill. I don't know if No Man's Sky is going to do that at some point, but I can totally see them passing the game on, passing the torch, doing something different, right? why can't they give that to the community, right? There's Steam Workshop, right? That's super easy mod tools. So even though I don't personally like my experience, even though you see it for pretty footage sake, I don't like using mods because I feel like it harms the original vision. But what would you say if they just one day just sort of, what is the word, bequeathed? That's a weird word. All of those assets to the community and was just like, here, now you run your own dedicated servers and you run your own mod tools and your own. I mean, because we do that in Minecraft right now, right? There's lots of games that run their own servers, their own modded servers, their own dedicated server playlist. Why have 256 galaxies when you can have 256 servers that are sort of run by a server host or something like that? What do y'all think about that?
I think I'd go broke renting servers.
I don't like paying monthly for stuff, right? Because it's just because most of the stuff that charges for monthly rates are like MMOs that I don't generally enjoy, like World of Warcraft and stuff like that. And I'm open to trying it, but I'm not open to paying $10, $20 a month for something that I just don't think I'm going to enjoy that entirely. But I would absolutely do that.
Speaking of MMOs, I am a complete and total noob when it comes to those. When Sean says MMO-like features, what do you think he's alluding to?
That's a great conversation to have. So why don't we?
I don't know anything about MMOs, so I have no idea.
So let's sort of unpack this, and I think I'll be watching the chat too, just to see what they say, and let's make some comparisons for the sake of argument. MMO, right? Let's start tossing out MMO examples, right? World of Warcraft. You start
Black Desert.
Is that a like a turn-based RPG, or is that a little more of an? I know what it is. I've seen it.
When I played it, it wasn't turn-based. It's just very grindy.
Mm-hmm. Very grindy. Okay, that's a good word. Grindy was.
I think every MMO I've ever played, you start off in like a big city where everyone else starts, and you all start in the same place with everyone else around you. I think that's like the critical starting point of every MMO. You start off somewhere, you get some missions to start leveling up your character.
Leveling up, yeah,
and you have to get better loot and better gear to fight together or by yourself and solo in an MMO, but all the other players are around you doing the same thing.
Final Fantasy 14 is another one. Infinite Lightning just brought up. That's a more recent example. DM21 Gaming's been playing a lot of that. I see a lot of that on my Twitter feed. So that's happening. That's another game, as a matter of fact, that shows up in the same vein, the same conversation with No Man's Sky generally when it comes to horribly botched launches and then the redemption arc, right? Final Fantasy 14 launched as an MMO and was just shockingly broken, shockingly dull. I mean, I didn't play it, but that was the common discourse. And then, like, they went back and then retooled the entire game, and now it's like a legendary RPG that is getting expansions like crazy. Like, those are your that's this sort of more the extreme end of MMOs, right? We're talking like World of Warcraft, right? Giant worlds, lots of complexity and depth. Grinding was a word that came up. That's that's synonymous with MMOs, right? Not exclusively MMOs, but particularly for MMOs. But I mean, you've got games like that, but then you have MMO likes, which I think falls more under No Man's Sky, right? So let's say MMO-like features. Okapi just said it. That's a good point. Let's bring up some more recent examples of what an MMO-like is, right? Think DayZ, right? Are you familiar with DayZ?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
DayZ is like a 50 square kilometer map, right? And you just drop 100 people into it, and you just say survive, right? There's no clicky or RPG elements. Like, it's essentially a first or a third person shooter with survival elements and loot and stuff like that. catching colds and dysentery and Montezuma's Revenge and all that weird stuff. Then a more MMO likes to bring up Destiny. Destiny
Yeah.
is an MMO like, right?
Grind.
It's a shared.
Yes.
There's your grind example again, right?
Grind.
I just decided to give Destiny a chance, right? And I've been kind of enjoying it. I don't like the 30 frames per second. I don't like playing shooters competitively or adversarial shooters at 30 because the controls with 30 frames per second are just sort of sluggish for me. So it makes me suck.
What's the max players on a server? What's the max players on a server in Destiny?
In Destiny, I know in like a PvE environment, and now I usually only play the PvP like on a map of like 6v6, right? But in a shared universe like Destiny, if you're like walking around the EDZ on Earth, you would, in this large environment, just sort of casually run across. I don't know how many people, the max, if anybody knows in the chat, that would be good to know. Anthem is another example of an MMO, right? It's more of a shared universe. So I think shared universe is probably a better word. Now, of course, it's probably different than the original pitch for No Man's Sky multiplayer because back in those days, Sean kept saying things like Dark Souls or Journey, right, where you just sort of happen upon the player space, and then you go about your business, right, and you can just sort of encounter people organically, and then that's that, right? You can go gallivanting with each other if you want, or hey, there's a person, good to see you. Wow, that's what you look like. Cool. Right? But an MMO is not quite an MMO, right? And then we started to see, now on the not so extreme end, but the more popular end as of late, aside from things like Destiny, The Division, Anthem, you've got the sort of ultra squeezed streamlining of those games into the battle royale genre, right? Because games like DayZ were about putting 100 people in this massive land and then just have them survive and kill each other to survive or whatever, whereas games like PUBG and Fortnite and Apex Legends took that gameplay loop that everybody loved about those survival games and then just made a multiplayer match out of it, right? Where it's essentially you land in or you appear into this world, you scrounge up the loot, you kill and or die, and then wash, rinse, repeat. So it took that entire dynamic of large world survival and just squeezed the gameplay loop so tight that it became just 25-minute player matches. So I think, and here's the weird part. I think that the MMO-like sentence in that paragraph, I think, is less remarkable than when he says many recognizable elements. As a matter of fact, let me bring this up because that's good discussion. Somebody else put that on my Twitter feed this morning, and I can't find it, but
I was trying to see like what kind of MMO like features we could make applicable to No Man's Sky.
Level
Obviously,
based.
leveling up, loot,
Yeah.
that could all work.
How about quests based on levels? So you have to be like a certain.
We
level.
kind of have that now with mission boards, though.
Yeah, true that. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
No Man's Sky Beyond. We're excited now. It's No Man's Sky Beyond. The first component. Matter on screen this bad boy. The first component of Beyond we're announcing today is No Man's Sky Online. It includes a radical new social and multiplayer experience. That's pretty key there. Radical, of course, but social and multiplayer experience. So to me, that brings up like the shared universe, like in Destiny or the Division 2 or the Anthem verse, right? And a multiplayer experience which empowers players everywhere in the universe to meet and play together. That excites me. particularly, right? Because I don't generally play with other people in No Man's Sky because
I never do.
Yeah, like I don't.
never do.
I just find walking the terrain with somebody it's not very fulfilling. It's cool that you
Right.
can, but
And like, what's the point?
right. It lacks reason. It lacks goal. It lacks significance.
Yep.
That's what I'm hoping that we get with. If you're asking me what we know about No Man's Sky Beyond so far, this is what excites me the most because I think they get to fully realize what this shared universe gets to be about. But then they say, universe to play and meet together, whilst this brings people together like never before and has many recognizable online elements. I think that's the biggest. That's the sentence. That's the sentence you want to really focus on, in my opinion, because if we just like we talked about in this particular conversation so far is shared universe, MMO like, right? And then we start thinking about common, right? We already talked about a couple of those things already as far as the common shared universe games, right? Grind came up, right? There's going to be a lot of grind and a lot of focusing on the goal. We kind of talked about this last week too, sort of like guilds and meeting places and factions. Hungry Hippo says loot. I fully agree with that one too, right? There has to be a loot economy. There has to be a loot, right? And that's one of the things I'm enjoying the most about Destiny so far, even though I'm pretty trash at it, is the loot aspect of it, right?
Yeah. Destiny's got some great loot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the loot aspect of it is like when I unlock like a purple color weapon, like what is it? Legendary? And
Legendary,
then you get, and then you get the golden items, which are like exotic, which I got one the other day, which is like a pulse rifle, like a 3-round burst that looks like some futuristic minimalist square gun. And I'm like, this looks great, and it kills people fast, right? It's a keeper. So I'm hoping that No Man's Sky brings this loot mechanic, and this is what I'm really focusing on, and what I'm really leaning on and hoping for is that the recognizable elements. We don't consider No Man's Sky to be an MMO. It won't, and I think when they say we don't want it to be an MMO, I think that's why they're saying it. Because when you take the term online, and we already know that it's a large game with a large universe, right? And then you start mentioning MMO-like elements to it, people's minds will probably automatically go to, is it a subscription service, or is it free to play with microtransactions? That's the discourse that we see commonly today in games is, how is this company going to try to screw me out of my nickels and dimes through microtransactions and loot boxes and all of this stuff? So I think that's the we don't consider it to be an MMO is more of just a sort of a dispelling of the thought that this is going to be the kind of garbo that you're being fed by the larger publishers and stuff this day, right? So I think the conversation should probably be more about what the elements are that are recognizable and sort of how they're going to radically implement this stuff. Because there's a lot of folks in the No Man's Sky community that is absolutely, I get grilled on this on a regular, but against a PvP mode, right? And to what I say is, if they do it right and they make it No Man's Sky unique, like it doesn't have to be like any of the other yearly trash that gets pumped out. It could be completely new to No Man's Sky. Devlin, thank you so much for being here. I see you. Thanks for stopping by.
It's not something that I would mess with, but I mean, if people want it, it's fine.
And
you can turn multiplayer off. So
yeah, and that's an important piece, right? Is that you can certainly opt out, but I'm more interested in the prospect of what happens if they do it in a unique way, right? Like, just put 100 people in this this star system with like 4 planets and then just a battle of like 3 or 4 factions between each other. Ships blowing up and fighters zigzagging around and freighters crashing into planets, and like that sounds amazing to me, right? It just has to be unique to No Man's Sky if they're going to do it. Like, I just don't want some 6v6 build your own multiplayer arena, stuff like that. I want to see like something well thought out and unique.
Right.
Because they have the tools, they have the basis, right, to do this thing. I mean, what is a PvP mode? What would a PvP mode look like to y'all if they were to do it? Like, what would be acceptable if they just threw that out there and said, here's PvP? What would make you go, I didn't like this before, but now I totally want this?
Space combat, maybe?
Space combat?
Like 6v6 space combat. You all have your own starships.
A reason to do it.
A reason to do it. And that's the thing. Like, you and I agree on that. We may not see on the same level as far as whether it should or shouldn't. I'm okay either way, but I think that is sort of where we all have to land, right? Is that if you're going to do something from here on out with your updates, it should have a reason behind it, right? It's got to.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. I mistook that question all around. I'm sorry.
No, that's totally fine. No, that was sort of separate from what you said. But you're right. Like, it would be cool to have like dog fights, right?
Like now, if you kill somebody, there's absolutely nothing happens. If you're gonna have a PvP mode, if I kill you, Legacy, I should be able to take some of your loot, some of your gear or something.
Yeah, right.
Well, there's no reason.
To the victor goes the spoils.
Yeah,
absolutely, and that's totally true. So that's very good discussion, and I appreciate that. All what are some last moment topics that we can cover tonight before we shut her down and continue the excruciating weeks, hopefully on the path to August 16th, or I'm going to be I ain't going down alone. We will be wearing egg on our face when people are tweeting going, hey, so it's August 17th. You were wrong, LZ.
So, going to the Beyond teaser, we were just talking about Destiny. That room where the ship is, does anybody else get tower vibes from that? Because I do.
Okay. All right, so let me try to understand your question. So the teaser that we got for No Man's Sky Online, you're comparing it to the tower in Destiny.
Yeah, the Beyond teaser, like the building where the ship's in, where it zooms in.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? And that's been brought up. Absolutely. I think Peaceful Gamer had said something like that too, or somebody in that sphere of things, that they're calling it like a hub, like a central hub of meeting or whatever. And
I can see that for sure.
Yeah, it's like a giant version of a space station that we have now.
It probably could be. And that's a good point. Let me bring that up. I think there's a trailer to look at here connected, isn't it? Yeah, so let me bring that up. So there it is. Oh, wait, will you pause?
speed.
On quarter speed. Like, it keeps playing and pausing. But I mean, we have a pretty big building here, right? I mean, if you go by the scale that it presents, I'm interested to see what this is. It definitely looks different design-wise that we're used to in No Man's Sky. I'm interested to know what's sort of back here, right? In this sort of this glowy circle of whatever.
Hell, it could just be a loading screen. We don't even know.
I kind of hope they use the boundary failure, bids ringed circular structures that they, we always thought they might be ship portals, back when Atlas Rises first launched.
Ship portals.
Yeah, so I hope they made it so you have to play through the game a little while and get to somewhere to then get into the online.
Mm-hmm.
That way, new people coming on still get to experience the beginning of the game, kind of vanilla or how we have it now,
Yeah.
and then get to a point where you can get to the online part of the game.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It certainly could pass as a hub. And I mean, No Man's Sky Online related, it's certainly interested that this is the part they chose to show.
hmm
I mean, that can't be by accident. I mean, I don't know why they would sort of arbitrarily show something unrelated to whatever the online component is supposed to be. So that definitely makes some sense. What do you think? Has anybody else got any conjecture on what this thing is?
Yeah, exactly. John Hall said in the chat, and why is the ship not online? In fact, that's another interesting observation too. I never noticed that.
That's a good point, because it's like
It's just sitting there.
it's just sort of parked there, right?
Yeah.
I kind of want to know. I think I'm curious, obviously by the design, but I'm curious to know what the scale of this building is, because
Yeah.
I feel like it's impossible. I think it's a space McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. It's kind of impossible to tell the depth and the size of this building, the scale of it, because things like the camera's kind of moving fast, the sort of level and the focus of the camera. I'm having trouble telling sort of what's here. And I mean, because and also too, if we go a little bit further, I went a bit further. Whoops. As it starts to zoom over, it does get plenty more blurry, but then we get other things that are visible here, right? Like, it looks like there's some kind of a walkway in the middle of the screen there, or some kind of a bridge, but I mean, if that's the case, like, how much of this particular area is sort of explorable, right? I don't know about y'all, but I look at this and I'm like, can I go there? And what's over there? Or is this just sort of just empty space that's just sort of there for looks that I fly over as I'm coming into this joint? What do y'all think could be out there?
I think that any of the trailers they've given us, in the past has all been actual in-game footage.
It's true.
And I don't think they would break away from that. So I think this animation is something that happens in game, and we just don't know why. I mean, I want to know what's on the other side of the player, where the player's looking, what's behind us.
That's true. That they could have sort of just leave that around, right? That's these teases. I can't.
It does look like an animation to me too, but I mean, I'm thinking, what if the hub is like a summonable, like, something that you can summon, like a big freighter, you can join into a lobby like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little far stretched, but I don't know.
There's a lot of, and I think a lot of the discussion that we get in the community is a lot of folks don't take too kindly with it being too easy to come together. So I think I wonder how they're going to handle that sort of gracefully. I know they've sort of put arbitrary limits in the game now as far as the boundary failure, or not the boundary failure, but whatever, like when you portal into somebody else's territory, right? You can't bring your ship along with you. I wonder how they're going to encourage people, so to speak, that's what they said, to meet up, when right now the game just totally doesn't like you doing that.
Do you think when online launches they'll reset everybody? 'Cause I do.
I speculated a reset, not so much for online, though that's a good key point that you bring up about online, is what kind of reset would they consider to... Maybe that's not the question. Maybe what is the scale of online that would say maybe we should reset this puppy?
Well, say Quicksilver is the online currency, which I personally think it's going to be. I think that's why they kind of controlled it, manipulated it, and kind of beta tested it out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, if you have 5,000 Quicksilver and I only have 100, and we both go into online the same day, well, you're vastly in a better position than I'm in. And we both played the same amount of time. I know you're a day one player, I'm a day one player. So I wonder how they... And right now we can't even earn any. So I mean, you would think they would have to reset or do something there to kind of level the playing field.
I'm almost interested in them just eliminating at least one of the currencies, because having 3 currencies
There's
is
too
kind
many.
of weird.
There's too many.
Like, I've got 3 different currencies. Now, I mean, if we're thinking about it and we're talking about just some universal, like, space, I could see there being multiple currencies, like, sort of logically in some kind of sci-fi
Right,
lore.
but right now there is no logic.
Right now there isn't, because I can't spend it. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can't
Yeah.
earn it.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So
Yeah. Folks, I think we can close it up for the night. I know the wait has been increasingly long. We'll get there. I hope that the news that we brought tonight is accurate. So to catch you all up, those of you who joined us a little bit later, we broke at the beginning of the show that Sony support chat has been telling us that August 16th is their projected date for the launch of Beyond. Again, grain of salt. It is Sony support chat, so I don't exactly know what authority they have to say that, if any. I know somebody had said earlier, No Man's Smile, I think, said tried it, and they got the answer that I got was...
Yeah, I literally got, sorry, I investigated into this, and our team hasn't released any information on it yet. That's what they exactly said.
That's an interesting answer now that we kind of look at that, because it's like, we haven't released any information.
But do you have
Which means you have it? Is that what that means? Because, I mean, I'm willing to give you the credit for having it.
No.
So does that mean there's a chance? I mean, fair enough. I mean, we don't need to grasp at straws, right? Martin, thank you so much. Appreciate
but if we
having you
could just
always.
get some damn communication, it would be great.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. The quiet has been... I think we just have to learn after all these years to just adapt and just wait it out. Like, I've been playing a lot of Far Cry.
Yeah, but the thing is, and I'm not going to beat this horse to death because I know it's been beaten, but you can't say that you're going to be more communicative and more transparent and then spend 4 months doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I would love a little bit of a
that's
here
the
and
entire reason. That's the whole reason that I'm this impatient.
Mm-hmm.
Because you told me you were going to be communicative. You told me you were going to be more transparent. And it's been 4 months of silence.
Yeah, it's a bummer they took that away. Like, I think that's what I think that cuts me deeper than the actual silence. I'm not even worried about that. You set a precedent.
Yeah. The silence. If you're going to be silent, that's fine. But don't tell me one thing and do another.
But I think,
or at least say, hey guys, listen, we're going to work really hard the next 3 months. We're not going to be as communicative. Here's why. You know,
that would work.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yep.
I appreciate the context, definitely. You know, I know that it's easy to try to be distracted by other things, but I think it's also a testament to how much we're looking forward to that too. Like, the hurt is real, but it's for a reason, right? We're all sitting here like, I can't take it anymore. I'm dying.
Yep.
You know, and that's fair. But I don't blame them either, right? I know that these things, they take time. And I know we're a bunch of thirsty folks just waiting for this thing to happen already, right? Bring it on, please. But it'll be sooner here. Remember when and I keep bringing this up, but remember when they delayed the game before launch? And it was like a month, and an extra week. And
the longest month ever.
Yeah, like I felt like we were all dying back then, but we chewed through that month and a week like pretty fast. Yep. It came and went, and then now that I think about it in hindsight, the delay was the least of our problems. At launch. So maybe, and this kind of makes me appreciate their silence and their work a little bit more, right? It's kind of a bummer to me that they sort of started squishing these updates together again. I kind of liked how they did Visions and Abyss, where it was just like these sort of piecemeal, here's our improvements of these things.
I agree.
But I also trust in their ability to say, okay, you know what? I think this works together so well. Here's what our strategy is. And here's the reason why. And I think Component 3 is gonna probably tell us a lot of that. I mean, aside from online, like I don't care much for VR. I'm not a VR player. I don't own VR. I'd love to. I would love to not feel like I'm having like a brain hemorrhage. Like I worry that I would, but I think Component 3. I'm already excited for Beyond and particularly the online aspect. If they deliver on that with whatever nebulous piece of my brain is traveling to for that, then Component 3 will probably do a lot of the talking for whatever it is they're doing. But in the time being, right? This is what we have this for, right? Getting together on podcasts and watching YouTube and shooting the shit with people on Twitter and Discord and
bugging the hell out of Sony chat support.
Yeah, and chatting with Sony chat and being like, you again, right? I didn't mean to get you again on chat. Where's Erica? She had better answers.
Yeah.
But folks, we're going to close it up for the night. And then hopefully, maybe we'll wake up tomorrow or something. But at the end of the day, we still have what we like the most, right? We still have this game. We still have each other. And none of that is ever going to change. So there's no silence or delay about that. That's here, and that's right now. So let's appreciate those things. And then ultra mega gigantic friendly hug when it all gets here, right? And it's close. Maybe closer if we're lucky, closer than the 16th. I want to be wrong about that. So
Oh, I do too.
without further ado, everybody, thank you so much for jumping. Subscribe if you haven't already. Help support the LZ. Pick up a T-shirt or something like that, right? I'm looking to put some new stuff on the store, hopefully at some point, right? Grab a shirt. I kind of jokingly made this one. This was the "Why Are You Still Here" shirt that I made. That was that famous line that I did from that video like 2 years ago. It was a jokey one, but it sold. So I'm like, okay, but that's always helping. Thank you for the donations. I know I had a couple of donations earlier. Helped a lot. I think it was 2 donations. YO gave me one for a super chat for 16. Joshua did, and Martin Requiem did as well. So I super treasure y'all. Thank you so much. And look forward to some uploads from today's episode throughout the week until next Tuesday. Hopefully, we'll have something significant to talk about come next Tuesday, same time, same place. Look forward to that. And thank y'all so much. We got a new member, by the way, too. Thank you, Ivy Mike, for the membership. Y'all are super awesome. There it is. The fist bump, the robotic fist bump for Ivy Mike. And I hope y'all sleep tight. And check y'all later. Bye, everybody.
Night, Els.